poppin' T Squad? It's me, Keisha, and I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade, Love and Marriage DC Season 2, Episode 2 review. I drop videos Monday through Sunday. Everything that I say is for entertainment purposes only and not to be taken seriously. So if that works for you, then let's get into tonight's review. The episode picks up exactly where we left off last week with Lil Jamie and Jamie having an argument in the hallway of Jason's going away party. And we see, Jamie tell Lil Jamie to chill out, like, because he was being disrespectful, talking back to his father. And Lil Jamie's like, this ain't even you. This ain't even you. And Jamie was like, because I'm tired of this. He up here faking for these cameras. And Lil Jamie's like, you faking NIGGA. And Jamie was like, what you gonna do? And they holding him back. Irena pulls Lil Jamie to the back to try to calm him down and talk to him. He's distraught. He's crying. He's upset and everything. But regardless of the fact, he did not have the right to talk to his father like that and be disrespectful. No matter how angry you get, you know what I'm saying? He shouldn't have been acting like that. He was acting like he really wanted to go pound for pound, toe to toe with his daddy. Like, that ain't cool. So Irena is in the back trying to talk to him, trying to get him to calm down, and was like, you're not about to fight your daddy. Like, that is not going down. So Quick comes out there to try to help the situation and tries to, talk to Lil Jamie and everything. And he basically says to Lil Jamie, you can't get mad at another man for not helping you. Like, you grown at the end of the day. And Lil Jamie was like, but I didn't get mad. And, Quick was just trying to, give him game. Like, I understand you going through a lot. I understand you was upset. But at the end of the day, you are a grown man and you need to start acting like one. And so in Lil Jamie's confessional, he was like, I appreciate Quick trying to add his 2 cents, but I'm mad right now. Like, I'm good. But see, that's the problem. Somebody trying to help you, sir. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to come out there and try to spit game to you and give you words of encouragement. He could have stayed in there and ate some meatballs and called it a day. Like, he didn't have to come out there and try to talk to you, but people care for you and are rooting for you and want to see you do well. And you need to be thankful that you have people in your life that want to help you out and give you advice. But, he's just so blinded by resentment and everything else that he has bottled up inside of him. So we see Jamie talking to Clifton and was like, I feel like he treat me like I'm his brother, not his father. And Clifton was kind of like, from what we saw, just standing there listening to him, just trying to be a listening ear. And that was the end of that situation. I'm pretty sure after that, probably the party was donezo or about to shut down at that point because it had been a lot, child. Absolutely too much was going on. Winter is back, honey, back and in full effect with a new hairstyle. She ain't got that Cassie cut no more. She looks great. I really love her season 2 glow up. She was already a beautiful woman, but I feel like this season she looks even better. Loving the hairstyle on her. I just like her whole aesthetic. So we see her in the studio, child, recording her next song, Gutter Barbie's, child. And I'm like, okay, all the housewives and reality stars do this little music thing. It's really tired and played out at this point because most of y'all just got a voice that can carry a tune in church and that's about it. So I need for a lot of y'all just to sit down, including Winter. Like, it was funny with the, sign my papers thing. But now it's just like, okay, enough is enough. The gimmick is done. It's enough. Like, let's stop while we're ahead. But her friend Sharella visits, and Sharella is a new cast member on the show. And Sharella is friends with Winter. Like, they literally just got cool last year when Winter recorded the song Sign My Papers because Sharella's husband was the one that helped her record that. So they ain't even been friends that long, you guys. So don't get it twisted thinking they like really good friends, been friends for 10, 12 years. They only been friends for a year. Winter said that on tonight's episode of Carlos King when he does, his interviews with the cast on his YouTube channel, if you haven't checked it out. But she's also friends with Ashley, so they have that in common, okay? So, Sherelle was like, I'm going to Ashley's event and I'm probably going to mention that you wrote this song. And I was like, well, at least she honest, at least she's straightforward. Like, I'm about to be the bone carrier in this situation and run into that. But I was like, why are you even getting yourself involved in this? But I guess she said, I'm on reality TV. I got to make my impact. I got to get in here and get in while the getting is good. So let's pop stuff off. So I was like, okay, girl, I'm gonna ride with you. So Winter was like, she tried to make peace with Irena and Ashley at the reunion. They weren't really receptive of that. And that, she tried to show Irena the receipts on what was being said about her children, but Irena never got back to her. We then go to Jamie and Irena's crib, and we see Jamie laying in the bed with them pale legs, looking like his name Grady. Them legs look like his name is Grady, honey. He needs to get a tan, honey. Child, he was in that bed looking at The Bold and the Beautiful or watching Jeopardy in the afternoon. Well, Irena asked him to come downstairs and help her with some packages. And so he comes downstairs in these flip-flops, y'all, and busts his ass. He laughed it off real quick, but I was like, nigga, I know that hurt. If them cameras wouldn't have been there, he would have still been laying there. Because I know he had to soak in some Epsom oil, honey. He had to get rubbed down with some vapor rub, some alcohol, some of everything. He needed like 2 massages, child, some aspirin, some Benadryl, some Excedrin. I know that body was hurting. Now I know he got a bruise because he hella light. He lighter than me. So I know he had a bruise on them little bitty legs, child. I felt sorry for Pop. But it was funny. So he and Irena sit down and have a conversation about what happened at the party with Lil Jamie. And Irena was like, these kids nowadays will harm themselves. And it worries her all the time that Lil Jamie might do something to himself. And she was like, you can't just be yelling at him all the time. And Jamie was like, see, this is what I don't understand, because I didn't do anything wrong in this situation. Like, the whole family was upset about it, but now I'm being blamed. And I don't think that that's fair to him. I really honestly don't, because at the end of the day, his job as a father is to correct his child and to give him tough love, but also be nurturing as well. And we've seen him be nurturing to Lil Jamie, but it's only but so much coddling that you can do with a person. You know what I'm saying? But then on the other token, I get what Irena is saying, because I'm a mom. I have a son who has issues and problems like everybody else. And it does become a point where you have to straddle the line of being forceful and tactful and, demanding and assertive, but then you do have to balance it with, like I said, being nurturing, giving words of affirmation, encouragement, and all of those types of things. But, it gets frustrating at some point when you have a child that is just constantly, in trouble and not doing the right things and stuff. So it's a fine line that you toe as a parent, and it is scary. So I do get where Irena is coming from, but I also get where Jamie's coming from. And it's just a really hard line to toe. We then see Ashley at her crib putting together some book boxes with her bestie, Alicia, who we met on last week's episode. I had no idea that this was her best friend, but they have been best friends since the 9th grade. So they have been homegirls for quite a long time. Ashley tells Alicia that her sister has read the book already, because she wrote an autobiography about her life called Do That Shh. And that her sister is very concerned about how their mom will feel about the things that were written, because Ashley writes about the fact that her mom moved in with a man when she was 16 and pretty much left Ashley behind to raise herself. And, she writes about how that felt, what she went through. And, this is her story to tell, and she has every right to tell her side of the story and what happened to her, because these things did happen to her. And yeah, her mama might feel some type of way, but I wouldn't be writing this if it didn't happen. So you got to deal with that, sis, and not I. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to take responsibility for the choices that you made, love, and keep it moving. I have a semi-autobiographical book about my life called China Black. 75% of it is true. The other 25% isn't. I talked about my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, my best friends, my baby daddy, my exes. Everybody's in the book. And things were said that I'm pretty sure people didn't like, but they had to deal with it. And anyway, it was the #1 best-selling novel on Essence magazine. Yes, ma'am. Toot my horn. Toot, toot. You know what I'm saying? So they got over it real quick. They got over it real quick when it was a #1 bestseller in magazines all around the country. Yes, get into your girl. Yes. So I got where Ashley was coming from. So they end up discussing Joy. And Alicia was like, I didn't know how things was going to shake between me and her, considering the fact that, I questioned why she was being asked to speak at an event for moms that are dating when she is, childless or whatever. But she says, for the most part, she liked Joy or whatever, but, she don't know really where that's going to go. But we already know that Joy and Ashley are going to get into it. So this is going to be something to keep our eyes on. They then go and get bestie tattoos, which I found to be really, really cute. Me and my best friend, Alosha, have matching tattoos as well. So I get it. It's a very cute, symbolic thing to do. Joy visits her good Judy, Irena, at her home, and they sit down and they have a kiki, and they talk about, Irena asks her how she felt about Ashley and Alicia coming at her about, doing the event for single moms dating. And she was like, I kind of felt like I was being ambushed, like I was being ganged up on. But she was like, I don't want to just assume and, harbor harsh feelings, like I'm gonna let it go. Basically she was saying she was gonna let it slide, and I agreed with her, because okay, I'm fresh, I'm new to this, you know what I'm saying? You don't really know where people's intentions are, where they coming from, so I'm gonna let that ride, but you only got one more time to play with me, pretty much. And I ride with Joy. I really like Joy. I think that she is an excellent addition to this show, and right about now I'm team Joy with this whole situation. So she does let Irena know, however, that Clifton was feeling some type of way, because he said that he saw Ashley like rolling her eyes and stuff, which was silly and ridiculous. If she was doing that, like, what was the point? Like, you mad because you ain't get the hosting job? Like, what's the deal? Like, I'm not really understanding this. Like, why you coming at this girl for getting the job? Like, I'm really not understanding it. Irena in her confessional says, that she didn't think that they ganged up on Joy, but she did understand where Joy was coming from. I feel like they did gang up on her, because it was 2 against 1 coming at her. She's new to this group, and Irena can't really jump in because she's friends with both of them. So it was like her, defending herself against 2 other women. So it was a gang up to me. So it's the day of Ashley and Alicia's Think Pink event that is a spinoff of their podcast. And all the ladies have to arrive in pink, which is, so fun and cute. Y'all know pink is my favorite color. So I love the idea behind this event. Irena pops up and she wears a Gutter Barbie jacket that her and Ashley had been selling, making money off what they'd been called last season. I thought it was cute. Love the jacket. I would even rock it myself. Joy arrives, honey, serving us dominatrix, serving us body, yaddy, 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 yaddy. I was like, you better body these girls, Joy, with these legs and hips and body. Sherelle then arrives, dropping it like it's hot. And one thing I gotta say about Sherelle, she is a big girl and she is confident in her body, honey. She don't have no shame. She came to the Think Pink party in a leotard, honey. And I was like, you better show that body. You better not care that you got a foop up. Because I would have cared, honey. But she was dropping it down low and didn't need no help getting up. She had some mega knees, honey. I was like, all right, Miss Sherelle. Well, Ashley formally introduces Sherelle to Joy, and Joy was like, hi. Joy was not seeing it for Sherelle at all. And in her confessional, Joy says that she was in a band called Mambo Sauce with Sherelle's husband, and it crumbled because of his selfish choices, and any extension of him she wants to remove herself from. I don't think that that's fair, because you can't base his actions on her and what he did, unless she was involved, unless you heard she said negative things about you and the band or something. I'm not really understanding why you're putting that off on his wife. She had nothing to do with it as far as what we know thus far from what you've said. So I don't think that that's fair. It got to be more to it than that, I'm hoping, because if not, that's petty and it's ignorant and it's silly, and I don't rock with that at all. Raina then shows Sherelle the Gutter Barbie jacket that she has on. And Sherelle was like, well, speaking of Gutter Barbies, I need to speak to you, Ashley. So they go off to the side and have a kiki. Sherelle tells Ashley that Winter is making a Gutter Barbie song and that her husband wrote it. So Ashley was like, a Gutter Barbie, according to Winter, is a pretty woman that aims low. Sherelle was like, well, my husband not writing no song like that. My husband don't write diss tracks. She want to make amends with y'all. And Ashley was like, she don't want to make amends with me. She want to make amends with Irena. And anyway, I'm good. But I'm like, well, what's her name? Winter said tonight on Carlos's show that the song isn't a diss record or whatever. But I'm like, it's called Gutter Barbie. So really, what is the song about then? I'm not really understanding how it could be uplifting. Like, this ain't the next Lean On Me. I'm really not understanding that, but okay. So Ashley in her confessional was like, Sherelle trying to cover her ASS because her husband wrote the track, and that's a lot of ASS to cover. And I somewhat agree. I think that she was trying to make it clear, I ain't got nothing to do with this. Don't think I'm trying to be messy. I'm involved because, like, why are you running back to tell them? Like, this ain't got nothing to do with you. So, or maybe she didn't want to seem like she knew about the song and didn't say nothing. So then it would have came across like she was being funny or fake. Irena in her confession was like, I feel like Sherelle is playing both sides. Why would you even bring Winter name up at Ashley's event? Like I said, I agree. And then again, I can kind of see where Sherelle was coming from. But all the ladies sit down and talk. All the ladies, of course, minus Winter. And Sherelle goes on this whole spiel about how she ain't in the middle of it. She cool with everybody, like planting her flag in the ground, letting you all know where she's coming from. And I felt like she was on her soapbox. It's like, okay, we get it, girl. You ain't taking sides. Like, you ain't got to do all that. Like, we grown at this point. And if anybody gonna get mad about who you friends with, then they need to grow up and they don't need to be your friend regardless. So it kind of did make me feel like she was just kind of like doing too much and inserting herself a little bit too much. But once again, things are heightened because we are on a reality show and we gotta, do the most pretty much. So Irena lets the girls know that she is going to have the long awaited conversation with Winter to find out exactly what is these receipts that she has on her family. So Sherelle gets up to go get her something to drink or eat, child. Don't give me the line. And she twerk her way on up out the room. But it was Joy's face. Joy was so disgusted. I know Joy was in her head calling that lady all kind of fat bitches. Joy was pissed. And lastly, in the episode, we see Irena and Winter finally come face to face. They meet up with one another. Both of the ladies look gorgeous. Winter's very nice and very kind when she sees Irena. And she was like, I hated that you didn't get back to me because, I really wasn't trying to be messy. And at first, I believed Winter. At first, I did believe her until tonight on Carlos's YouTube show, his podcast or whatever. She was talking mad crap about Irena. And I was like, from what I was seeing on social media within the last week, it seemed like they was cool. Irena was, commenting under her page. They was following each other. So I'm like, where is the shade coming from? Do the girls have a pact? We gonna throw shade at each other, you know what I'm saying, to keep these views up, to keep the drama going? Like, what's going on? Because I didn't really understand where all the shade was coming from tonight in real time. So Irena was just like, it went downhill when you were on Carlos's show once again and said that me and my husband cheated. And Winter was like, you know what? My goal wasn't to offend, but I can see how that was offensive. But my thing is, when you go on these shows, they're going to ask you questions, and you can either say, I ain't getting involved in that or whatever. She could have very well said that. She should have said that if she didn't want to be messy. But let's be honest. We all know after last season, it's obvious that Irena had an emotional affair and Jamie didn't cheated in the past. They've cheated on each other. Whoop-de-doggone doodles. Like, let's get over it, okay, at this point. But I do get where Irena's coming from, where you come in our faces and say that you sorry, you weren't trying to be messy, you meant no harm, but then you get on these shows and then you talk shit. Like, you can't do both. Like, you can't be messy, but then want to say, I don't want any problems. I don't want anybody not to like me. Like, nah, girl, you doing the most. You doing the most, and it's coming across two-faced and fake. So, Winter says that, somebody sent her something about Jason. That was the last person I was expecting her to say. I thought it was going to be something about little Jamie or their daughter. So Irena was like, read it. And Winter pulls out her phone and reads that, the person said they're acting like they raised Jason when that boy was shipped off to school in Baltimore. He only home now because he aged out. And then they moved her mother in so they can run the streets. And that's where it cut off, and it was a to be continued to next week. I'm going to be honest with you. The look on Irena's face was screaming, yeah, that was true, but not in a bad way. Like, they sent him to school, probably for a special needs school. And once he turned 18, he came back home. I don't think there was a situation where he came back home just to, look like they taking care of him and for, clout for the show or anything like that. But I can see very well him going to a school. My mom, I stated this when I interviewed Irena and Jamie. My mom here in St. Louis, Missouri, used to work for Missouri School for the Blind. And so there are schools for kids that with disabilities to go to learn and things of like that, but it wasn't a school where you had to stay at. But there are schools like that, you know what I'm saying? So it didn't look to me like this was anything like false or there was an outright lie. Now, she says on next week's episode, based off what we said, that it wasn't true, but the look on her face made it seem like there was some truth to it, which is not a bad thing. It really honestly isn't, because at the end of the day, I still took care of my goddamn child at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's a bad thing if they did send him off to get help. Like, there's only but so much you can do as a parent when you have a child with a disability. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's a bad thing. But we shall find out all the tea on next week's episode. Overall, I'm going to give tonight's episode of Love and Marriage DC a B-. It was good. I'm really enjoying this season thus far. Like I said, the ladies and the guys are really truly bringing it. Let me know what you guys thought about tonight's episode down below in the comment section. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.